Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of the List Podcast brought to you by The Man Salon. Multiple locations in the 605. Check them out online at themansalon.net. If you're an entrepreneur, they got franchise opportunities. You could be the next big Man Salon owner in whatever market you live in. Check them out, themansalon.net. All right, today on the show, we got my guy, Nick Nagel. Now, Nick is a former contributor at ESPN Sioux Falls, and also what we will call a marketing aficionado at the CBS affiliate in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. NBA junkie just like myself. Nick, welcome into the most illustrious podcast you're ever going to be on, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Pleasure. So you and I both have a great admiration for the man behind me over here in the King LeBron James. Now, you and I both over the years have had to defend him against idiots that, the Michael Jordan LeBron debate is one thing, but like the idiots that want to put some stupid dudes above him when it comes to the greatest of all time.
See, when it comes to LeBron too, there's a lot of reasons why people don't like him, and a lot of them aren't for basketball. They don't have anything to do with basketball. So when I start talking to those people, I just block it out. It's like that has nothing to do with the game. Flopping, I get it here and there. It has nothing to do with the actual play of the game. So love the guy. He's the best player ever.
So it's funny that you say that the other reasons. Now, my oldest son, Beckham, is 8. We tried to name him LeBron, as many people know. My wife wouldn't have it. She said, no, we're not naming him LeBron. We ended up naming him Beckham, so I don't know why we couldn't name him LeBron. But in the neighborhood, he found out, first of all, I told him that. So he's told me when he's 18, he's changing his name to LeBron. Yeah. Smart kid. But in the neighborhood, man, all these kids, they come over and they argue with me. They know I'm in radio. They're like 6, 7, 8, 10. And they want to tell me that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. I'm like, dude, you weren't even a thought when Michael Jordan was playing, right? Like you weren't even a fish at the time, right? Like you weren't even anything. And then they start to bring up like Kobe and all these. I'm like, dude, like slow your roll.
Okay? See, it's a lot of brainwashing.
It's their parents. It's the parents.
I hate doing this to, Michael Jordan. I hate tearing people down to defend LeBron, but sometimes, it has to be done. Michael Jordan is unbelievable.
Amazing. He was my favorite player growing up.
Yes. And you look at the intangibles, the scoring, the defense, the all defense, 6-0. 6-0 is great, but a lot of people out there like to think he only played 6 years. Believe it or not, he played 15. And before Scottie Pippen got there, was a complete and total loser. You and I have beat Larry Bird the same amount of times Michael Jordan has. So, with all that being aside, I hate tearing him down so much.
But we have to raise him. We have to raise up the king, right? We have to raise up the king.
Absolutely.
So today's list, there's going to be 2 of them as always. The second list is going to be our top 5 favorite South Dakota golf courses that we play. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But the top 10 today involves LeBron, but it involves LeBron's teammates. LeBron James's top 10 teammates of all time. Now, this is super subjective because you could go off of, at the time, how great they were, how good their overall careers were, how good they were in their prime, if they were Hall of Famers. Now, that's what's great about this, Nick. I didn't give you sort of the criteria for what it had to be for the top 10. I just said, hey, come up with your top 10 teammates. I'm going to be upfront with you. I went with top 10 play, like their entire careers, right? Okay. Like that's how I established it. How did you come up with yours?
So I did it in kind of the complete opposite. So I did it the way how I liked how they played with LeBron. So awesome. If they gelled with him well, if they, the LeBron guys, you hear that a lot. This guy's a LeBron guy. He's a shooter. He can space the floor. Right. He can defend. He's on both ends. A lot of these guys too. Very good defensively, very good on-ball defenders as well. And I kind of went off on my own too, and I have a few honorable mentions in there. And then
who are the honorable mentions before we get through 10 through 6?
So honorable mention, Anderson Varejao.
He was an honorable mention for me too.
Early Cavs stints there. Very nice pick and roll player with him. He didn't extend the floor much. Played really hard. I remember, got a lot of boards, pretty good defender as well. So he's one of my honorable mentions. And another one, it's tough to, leave him off the list because I really want to put him on there right now, but I think it's too early, is Austin Reeves.
Oh, wow.
I think he's going to make his way up the list. here in the next few years. The Lakers obviously got to pay him this offseason. But, in terms of gelling with LeBron, and, he likes high IQ guys as well. He does very well with them. Austin Reeves is a guy where I think he proved it this year. Honestly, he can be the third best player on a championship team in terms of, everyone's healthy and such. But the ways that he can score, he can spot up, he can create for himself, he can create for others. And, Austin Reeves is going to make his way up the list. And I have one more from LeBron's first stint, and that's Mo Williams. That was actually –
he was honorable mention for me too.
Yeah.
It was 08 to 10, and then he played with them, I think, 2015, the 26, the one where they came back and won. He was on that team as well.
Yeah. So, he was, I believe, from his first stint in Cleveland, he was the only other all-star with LeBron, technically speaking, all-star. I think he made it one of those, 09, 10 years with LeBron. So those are my three honorable mentions.
Some of my honorable mentions were Udonis Haslem. He was an honorable mention guy. Shane Battier was one that could spread the floor, shoot the three, play the D, 3 and D guy that I would have put on that list. And you could go. Carlos Boozer was a really good player in the NBA, that you could put on that list with him. Mario Chalmers, he didn't make my top 10, but Mario was a good compliment to him with all those big three in Miami that made some big plays when they needed it. So those are my honorable mentions. All right, 6 through 10. Who do you got?
So number 10, it's a little bit of a homer pick for me and South Dakota as a whole. Number 10, I got Mike Miller.
Me too. Number 10 on mine.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and then when I made this list too, I was like, did he have any big moments with LeBron going through? And you look at Mike Miller. Go back to the 2012 finals, the closeout game, Game 5. Mike Miller goes in and makes 7 threes. 7 threes there. And another game too, Game 6, 2013, that famous one, the Ray Allen shot. The 16 in that fourth quarter. But Mike Miller, so that game was really back and forth. And the Spurs went on about an 8-0 run, and they got the lead up to 7. And Mike Miller, with his shoe off,
boom,
hits a 3 to cut it to 4. That was a huge, timely shot. Nothing was going right for the Heat in that moment. And Mike Miller, came in. He was kind of like the guy where he wouldn't get many minutes in the regular season. Spotty minutes here and there in the regular season, and then boom, once you get to the playoffs, you got to play him. He's got to spread the floor. He's a very smart player. He was a very underrated defender as well. He could guard 2 through 4 in that span too. So at 10, I have Mike Miller, Mitchell boy.
All right, man. Go ahead. Number 9. Who do you got?
Number 9. This might be a little bit of a shock too. He's kind of on that same level of Austin Reeves. I got Alex Caruso.
What?
Here's my thought process. LeBron loves high IQ guys. Him and Alex Caruso gelled perfect.
They traded his ass. They didn't let him go.
And that was a big mistake on Rob Pelinka's part because don't let me get me started on Russell Westbrook right now. But in terms of gelling together, high basketball IQ. How many highlights do you see where it's a Caruso lob to LeBron? It's a LeBron dump off to Caruso. Those two were they were Batman and Robin when they were. AD's out, you got to go to Caruso. And in terms of defensively as well, with Alex Caruso as well.
All right. It's your list. It's not mine, but that's a terrible pick at 9. Who do you got at 8?
I don't think so. See, I don't think so. Number 8, J.R. Smith. Wow. I got J.R. Smith on there as well.
Except that moment where he thought that time was running out.
That's a big blemish as well. Yeah. But for J.R. Smith, great shooter, great scorer. He could create for himself. The LeBron guys that you like, when LeBron's on the bench, can you create for yourself? Can you get a bucket? And when LeBron's, he plays – when J.R. Smith was playing with him, 2015 to 2018, in that 2018 year, LeBron had to do everything. When J.R. Smith would plug in there and he can shoot the 3, he can defend as well. He made some very timely shots as well in 2016 finals. He played great in those finals, and I got him at number 8.
7, who do you got?
7, I got Zydrunas Ilgauskas.
Big Z. So from LeBron's first stint there, that was his big guy. And he was a LeBron guy as well. He was kind of one of those first bigs that could kind of stretch the floor. He had a very nice mid-range shot, good touch. He can go inside as well. Very good
a very solid defender, and that was LeBron's best teammate in his first 7 years in Cleveland.
Absolutely, it was, and he's one of those guys that had his jersey retired with Cleveland. It was based on that. When they went to the finals the first time, it was LeBron and then Big Z, and then your next best player you could argue was like Boobie Gibson or like I don't know, Varish, whoever it was, but. I thought Big Z was huge. He was with Miami there, the 10-11 season as good, just bench locker room guy. LeBron brought him down there. And, Big Z's definitely a guy that deserves credit for what he did with LeBron. And I had Big Z like at 10, and then I swapped him out for Mike Miller. But, honorable mention for sure for me. All right, who you got number 6?
Yeah, number 6, I got the guy that made probably the biggest shot in LeBron's career, Ray Allen.
Oh, really? It's Ray. I thought you were going to say Kyrie made the biggest shot in his career.
He's coming. Ray Allen hits that shot in game 6. I don't know. I mean, that probably breaks up the Miami team if he doesn't.
5.2 seconds left in the game. The Chris Bosh rebound, the kick out. Make sure his heels were up, knocked it down. All the Spurs fans were celebrating, and all the Miami fans were leaving, and they were trying to get back into the arena, and they wouldn't let them because Ray Allen made that shot. And remember, they brought him down from Boston. Boston was so pissed that he ended up in Miami, and it was sort of the traitor, and KG was pissed. And I mean, it caused freaking Armageddon up there, man. But man, Ray Allen.
Perfect LeBron guy too. I mean, people talk about Ray Allen saved LeBron's career. Okay, back up a little bit. Back up about 12 minutes in the fourth quarter in 2016 when LeBron goes out and has 16 points in the fourth quarter of that game to get him back. Hits a big 3 to cut it to 3. But Ray Allen, too, he's, I would say, best shooter LeBron has played with, definitely. And he's definitely LeBron, how well he creates for everyone. Ray Allen was a perfect plug and play for that Miami team and hits the biggest shot, I think, in LeBron's career as a team.
All right, so this is the List Podcast brought to you by The Man Salon. You can check us out iTunes, Spotify, and right here on YouTube as well. Like, subscribe, do the whole 9 yards. Nick Nagel joining me here, former ESPN Sioux Falls contributor, marketing aficionado, now at CBS affiliate here in Sioux Falls. Listen, here's my 10 through 6. I got Mike Miller, as I said, at number 10. Perfect compliment. You talked about it, guys that could shoot 3, space the floor. And again, my list, you went with like in the moment, best fit for LeBron. I went with like best players of all time to play with LeBron.
Yep.
I got Dwight Howard at number 9. Listen, first ballot Hall of Famer, had those MVP seasons in Orlando, took him to the NBA Finals. By the time LeBron's playing with him in the bubble, it's a totally different Dwight Howard. But if you remember, he was such a great substitute to Anthony Davis when they needed defense in the bubble. And Dwight Howard, man, is one of the best big men of the last 20 years. And so I got Dwight Howard at number 9 on my list.
Absolutely. He got absolutely robbed of the top 75 this year. Dwight Howard, people forget, he's kind of, after he left Orlando, he kind of turned into one big meme for everybody, kind of a guy to just poke fun at. He went to LA.
Kobe didn't want him. Harden didn't want him.
Yeah, but Dwight Howard was something else. It was kind of during that transition, the 2010 to 2013 range where the big man was kind of changing. And Dwight Howard, you could argue, was one of the last kind of dominant interior big men on both sides of the ball. I think he won a couple of defensive player of the years, as you said, too. And when LeBron played with him, he was perfect glue guy. Perfect glue guy for the bubble, perfect glue guy for that championship team. He gave Jokic absolutely fits in that Western Conference Finals that they played in the bubble. Gave him fits, and that's a really good pick. Right?
Could have used him if he was at that level this last playoff run. All right, so I want to make this very clear. I believe that overall careers, there are 7 players that had better overall careers than the guy that I have at number 8. And I'm pointing this out because I'm not a fan of the guy at number 8, but I think he's a really good basketball player. But I do believe 7 players had better NBA careers than who I have at number 8. Kyrie Irving is number 8 for me, okay? So I have 7 other teammates of LeBron that had better careers than Kyrie Irving. Now remember, Kyrie forced his way out to Boston, and now it may be a reunion in Los Angeles. But Kyrie, top 10 teammate of all time, talent-wise, teammate-wise, I think because it was in that game clincher to win the finals, that shot from Kyrie is probably a bigger shot than Ray Allen, just slightly. but you could argue either way, and I could probably, if you had a drink in me or two, I'd go either way on that.
Yeah.
At number 7, I have Kevin Love.
Yeah.
And so Kevin Love, I think, could be interchangeable anywhere between like 5 and 7 on my list. Yeah. But like people, just like Dwight Howard, people forget about how Kevin Love was a 20-10 guy, 25-10 guy when he was in Minnesota on god-awful teams. And if Ricky Rubio doesn't get hurt that one year, they make the playoffs with a Timberwolves team that wasn't that great, and then goes over in perfect fit. Like, he is the epitome of what you want. A guy that could and put it on the line and, did it in so many different fashions with him. I would have loved to see Kevin Love end up with LeBron in Los Angeles alongside Anthony Davis. And I think that'd have been a great put. AD at the 5, Kevin Love at the 4. Just getting long in the tooth right now. But I have Kevin Love at number 7. What a great career he's had. Yeah. This next one was tough, man, because I kept having him go farther and farther down on my list. Yeah. At number 6, I have Chris Bosh. I think it's because of the longevity or the lack thereof of his career. Again, another guy that had great all-star seasons in Toronto before he joined LeBron. It wasn't like he joined LeBron and then got great. Yeah. But the blood clot stuff and everything that was going on with him, we just didn't get to see the full extent of Chris Bosh's career. But if at Chris Bosh at his best, I would probably say he was better than Kevin Love, and he was better than Kyrie Irving from an overall standpoint of playing the game of basketball, rebound, score. He was good at distributing the basketball too. I have Chris Bosh at number 6. All right, man. The List Podcast again here on the Believe Podcast Network, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. That is Nick Nagel. I am Jeff Turn. All right, man. What do you got 5 through 1? Let's hear it.
5 through 1. So it's a lot of guys that you already kind of listed. At number 5, I have Kevin Love. Okay. And I think it was a perfect fit for him and LeBron. Remember that was the year LeBron came over from Miami, and it was kind of a choice. Do you want to keep Andrew Wiggins in 2014, or do you want to go with Kevin Love? That team was ready to win now. When LeBron got there, that team was ready. Yeah. And Kevin Love, one of my most favorite things that Kevin Love does are his outlet passes. He's the best outlet passer. I mean, people say, Wes Unseld back in the day had the same kind of
that's who he's named after, by the way. Yep.
Yeah. And Kevin Love at number 5. He can shoot it. He can spread the floor. His Minnesota days too. He was the best player on that Minnesota team for his first, 5-6 years in the league. And he was putting up 20s like it was nothing. Yeah. And just very tough teammates over there. I mean, what's he got? Alexi Shved. You got Johnny Flynn. You got all those guys. Yeah. Puke. Had absolutely nothing to work with over there. So I got Kevin.
Who do you got at 4?
I got Chris Bosh at number 4. Okay. Like you said, slightly better than Kevin Love. His first few years in Toronto were all-star seasons, and he was a very, very good player.
If he would have stayed in Toronto, and LeBron didn't make the move to they could have built around him, and they would have been top 5 team in the East. They would have been top 3. If you could have got somebody to go there, but just like the dudes before him, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Chris Bosh, they all eventually leave. So in this case, that was sort of unfortunate for Toronto. But I mean, like I said, like my 5 through 7, I could have interchanged. Yeah. Okay. Who do you got at 3? Number 3, I got Dwayne Wade. Okay. I got Dwayne Wade at 3, and here's why. Okay. We got about 2.5 solid Dwayne Wade years in Miami. LeBron did. Once it got to the later half of 2013 and 2014, it wasn't the same Dwayne Wade. And you could argue that those two weren't a perfect fit. Right away in 2011, they kind of, tussled back and forth. Took them a while that first half of that season.
Took them a while until Dwayne Wade kind of took a step back and say, LeBron, this is your team. They have all those highlights, the great lobs and everything, but Dwayne Wade wasn't a great shooter. You can't spot up Dwayne Wade on the three-point line and, get him a shot, but in other terms, he was huge in the 2012-2013 playoff run. Right. In 2011, he was the best player.
And the problem with that was that Dwayne played with such a reckless abandonness. I still think you could argue maybe one of the finals for Jordan, but Dwayne Wade with Shaq in the finals where they ended up beating the Dallas Mavericks is probably the greatest finals performance that we've ever seen. Yeah. And so if LeBron and D Wade would have played with each other 05, 06, 07, maybe that I can understand why, the way you have your criteria of how they fit at the moment, I can understand why he's at number 3. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Dude, I'm looking at my list and I don't know how you have 2 more to go. Who do you have at 2?
Number 2, I got Kyrie Irving.
Okay, that's right. You didn't have Kyrie Irving. Okay, I know who number 1 is, but go ahead. Who do you got?
Number 2, I got Kyrie Irving. In terms of fit, LeBron was really the only guy to make it work with Kyrie. And, he's such a talent. You could say what you want about him on all his, off the floor stuff. People always, he gets a very bad rap. But in terms of talent, he matches up with any point guard in the league. Yep. You go down, even Steph Curry, you go look at their head-to-head matchups, and you go watch the 2016 finals and make a tally of who outplayed the other. Kyrie Irving would come on top of every head-to-head matchup that they've had. So when he's healthy and he's got his mind right and everything, you can match him up against any point guard in the league in terms of talent, in terms of, creating for himself, creating for others. He, with the basketball in his hand, he is arguably the most talented guy in terms of basketball. In terms of, ball handling and everything, his talent is off the charts. And he's probably the most talented player LeBron has played with.
All right, who do you got at number 1?
Number 1, this is Anthony Davis. I got AD at number 1. And he's frustrated. It frustrates the hell out of me when, he's never healthy. Can't seem to get a full season out of him. But when they did, 2019, the first year they came, they were the best duo in the league. And you can still argue that when both of them are healthy and clicking, they're the best duo in the league. I don't know if there's any arguing that. And I think Anthony Davis is also the best defender in the league by far. If he puts together a full season, and what we saw from him in the playoffs as well, he was spotty in the playoffs here and there.
Offensively, yeah, but not defensively.
But you go out, there's talks about, maybe looking at trading Anthony Davis. No, absolutely not.
No.
34 and 17 games that he has, that doesn't grow on trees.
No.
And in terms of him gelling with LeBron, that pick and roll, that pick and pop, with how he played in the bubble as well in that first championship, you can argue that he was the playoff MVP. And he kind of, LeBron matched up well in the finals and he won finals MVP. But Anthony Davis was right there under him in terms of, both ends of the ball. Anthony Davis, I think, is the best player LeBron's ever played with.
All right, man. Here's my 5 through 1. Again, mine was the best careers of the individual players that were teammates of LeBron's. Nick's was in the moment what they fit like with LeBron. At number 5, I got Ray Allen. We talked about it already. Second greatest shooter, I think, of all time behind Steph Curry. I'd put Reggie Miller, as far as three-point shooting is concerned, number 3. Dude, you are going to love my number 4.
I think I already know what it is.
Russell Westbrook, baby. Come on, man. From as far as a career, triple-double machine. He was averaging triple-doubles before it became the thing to do. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Everywhere he's gone, he's put up good numbers. And look, it just wasn't a great fit with him in LA with the Lakers. When he went to the Clippers, he's the reason why they had any shot in hell in the playoffs to win any games. Listen, I understand the turnovers. I understand the Russ moments. Like he has those JaVale McGee moments sometimes later in his career where you're like, what the hell? But like, as far as a career is concerned, I mean, dude, just think for a second. If Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook could have figured out a way to play together, no doubt they win multiple championships. It never was going to work. There's not 6 balls on a basketball court, so that was never going to be the case. But those years after Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City has gave me such an appreciation for Russ. He was one of my favorite players to watch for a long time in the NBA outside of LeBron. So I got Russ at number 4. Your reaction?
So the funny story about this. So Russell Westbrook, when he left, I tell you, my stress levels went all the way down. I could not watch him play. I could not watch him play with LeBron this year. His basketball IQ, I think, for how great of a player he is, he hasn't played a lick of winning basketball in his career. I don't know if he knows what it means.
He carried him to the playoffs and the triple-double that year, MVP.
Well, okay, yes. In terms of, the whole hasn't done it since Oscar. Russell Westbrook has had a great career. And, he can do whatever he wants on the basketball court, but there's also a reason why he hasn't won a championship.
And why he's been on Oklahoma City. He's been in Houston. He's been in Washington. He's been in Los Angeles. He's now with 2 LA teams. I understand that part.
The biggest thing for this Lakers, what turned him around wasn't because of D'Lo, Vanderbilt, Beasley. Wasn't because of getting those guys in. It was getting Russell Westbrook out. That's what flipped everything. And All right. Fair enough. I understand. Okay, at number 3, I actually have Anthony Davis at number 3. And
the story's not completely written yet as far as his career is concerned. But again, I think 1 through 3, just like I said, 5 through 7, I could interchange them. Anthony Davis is a true unicorn. The health is what probably keeps me from putting in. Again, my list is those that, best careers. At number 2, he played 53 games with him, and I was so happy that he did. Shaq. I got Shaq at number 2. Most dominant player of any generation. And, free throws will hold him back from maybe being as great as Kareem or, Wilt, depending on how you want to debate it. But 53 games, and Shaq was at the end, man. Shaq was just collecting a paycheck and could go out there and give you a few minutes. But I got Shaq Daddy at number 2.
Domination.
If you go off my criteria of what great careers, Shaq at number 2. And then I got D Wade at number 1.
Yeah.
I think D Wade is so amazing, and the career that he had in Miami, winning that championship, greatest finals performance I've ever seen. I got D Wade at number 1. So there's our list of the top 10 teammates from LeBron James. Go ahead.
So I did a little thing here too. You want me to know least favorite teammates? Want to hear my top 5?
Top 5 least favorite teammates. Okay, go ahead.
Guys that absolutely made me pull my hair out.
Westbrook is 1.
I'll go through 5
okay.
to 1.
Okay.
Number 5, Isaiah Thomas.
Oh yeah.
So, didn't play many games with him, but he was supposed to be the big token key in that Kyrie trade.
No, didn't happen.
Yeah. Number 5, I got him. Number 4 might surprise you. Brandon Ingram. So that was LeBron's first year in LA, and they were trying to force feed Ingram like it was nothing. And I mean, that was Luke Walton trying to develop him and everything, and it just did not go as planned. And he has 0 basketball IQ as well. Sorry about these texts.
Oh, it's okay. I like it. The dings are sort of perfect, right? Like, ding doesn't have any basketball IQ. Ding was a terrible teammate. Exactly. Ding. All right, who do you got next?
Number 2, I got Kyle Kuzma. Could not stand Kyle Kuzma. Has the worst basketball IQ in the league. By far, he actually does. He doesn't know how to play winning basketball. That's why they shipped him the Wizards, go to get his numbers, and it looks good on paper. But this guy could not play winning basketball. He doesn't know what the word playmaking means.
All right, who you got next?
Well, shoot, that was my number 2. My number 3 was Mario Chalmers. We mentioned Mario Chalmers earlier.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
He did. The way he complimented the big 3 was good for him.
But remember when LeBron would always yell at him? That was funny, man.
That's too. He's just a guy I couldn't stand. He'd be pouty, and he'd be unplayable sometimes. In those
number
playoffs.
1?
It's number 1. It's Russ.
It's Russ.
I don't really have. I already kind of explained.
Yeah, it's Russ. He doesn't like Russ. That's Nick Nagel. I'm Jeff Turn. This is the List Podcast. All right, let's quickly, man. That was our top 10 LeBron teammates of all time. Get brought to you by the Man Salon. Final list of the day. We got our top 5 favorite South Dakota golf courses that we've played. Go 5 through 3, and then we'll go 2-1. What do you got at 5 through 3?
Well, number 5, I got Hart Ranch in Rapid.
Never played it.
So it's a very nice. There's a lot. I haven't played a ton of Rapid golf courses, and they're all beautiful out there.
They are, yeah.
Hart Ranch, I got at number 5. It's in the
the hills.
Rocks. It's hard. You got to make sure you bring like 40 balls with you when you go play because you'll lose them. But I got Hart Ranch at number 5. Number 4 is a homer pick. Central Valley Golf Course in Hartford.
That's my 4th pick too. We both are from the area. I got Central, and I like how they keep. And your dad was a part of this for a long time, man. Keeping that course really, really nice. They treat it so well. The people that play it treat it really well too. I know it's a Great Life course now, so it gets played a lot more. But
credit Mike Smith. Mike Smith at Central Valley. No disrespect to any other, Great Life courses in the area, but if you want to go to the best it's always in the greatest shape. And that's all due to Mike Smith, who's actually retiring this year. He's been there for 30, 40 years, I think. And he's retiring this year. So, whoever's next in line has big shoes to fill. But number 4, I got Central Valley. It's the best kept course in the.
So I say, I know your dad worked at Elmo, but like my point is people like your dad and others that had played that course for so many years took such great care of it while they played it. So people like me 20 years later are able to play that course, you and I, and it's still in really good shape. In addition to, like you said, the dude that took care of the course, it just people that played it before us took care of it. I got that at number 4. What do you got at number 3?
My number 3 is kind of a mixture of two. The Dakota Golf in Sioux Falls here. Sioux Falls Golf, that's a mixture of Elmwood and Prairie Green. I grew up at Elmwood Golf Course. My dad worked there for 20 years. He was a golf pro there. And, I just kind of grew up on that course. And Elmwood, they have 27 holes there. So, the East 9 isn't too hard. But Prairie Green is kind of a cooler golf course, I think, in terms of
all the nice houses out there.
Nice houses.
Shit, when I came back, man, they flipped it. The front and the back, they flipped it. I was like, I went out to a charity event. I was on the wrong hole. I thought I was on the 9th, on the 10th hole. I was on the first hole. So Prairie Green. What do you got? Okay, I'll do 5. So people are that live in South Dakota are gonna go, what the hell is Turn smoking today? Number 5, I got Keene Park. Okay, Keene Park golf. So I grew up on Keene Park. I lived not too far away. I'd ride my bike over there with my golf bag. 6 of those holes are par 3. The first, the 8th, and the 9th were always par 4s. I don't know if they changed it, but that's when I grew up playing. I played it so many times, and I think it made me like golf more because I could shoot lower scores on it. It allowed me to, as I grew up, play something that was manageable to hit and not feel like I'm getting my ass kicked while I'm playing the game. So I got Keene Park at number 5. I told you I got Central Valley and Hartford, South Dakota at number 4. Shout out to Hartford, the greatest city in South Dakota. Number 3, I got Prairie Green as well. I played high school golf a little bit, but I think I was in 8th grade and I was in a city tournament and I played out of my mind there. I got 3rd that year in the city tournament, but it was because of my round at Prairie Green. And I don't know if I've ever played the course as well as I did that day. But just another one that was always taken care of really well. I didn't get to play the country clubs when I was a kid. The closest thing to it for public courses in our area was Prairie Green. Another Rapid City one, Southern Hills out there. I've played that one. I haven't played any other ones out there. But again, the hills and everything's in the background. It's beautiful. Reminded me of a couple of courses I played at in Tennessee where you just had so much scenery. It was gorgeous. And at number 1, I have Minnehaha Country Club at number 1. I know I played Westward Ho back in the day. Now it's the Sioux Falls Country Club, but I worked there for like a summer. I played it a couple times. I don't remember playing it though, probably because I was in high school and I don't remember everything from high school, right? Like I was in a little bit of a haze back then, man. There's some partying going on. So I don't remember my days on that golf course. I played Minnehaha multiple times as an adult, of course, playing the Pro-Am for the Sanford International. I have it at number 1. What do you got at 2 and 1?
Number 2, I got Minnehaha. I love playing there. That's another course that's, in perfect shape all the time. Out there, really cool holes. There's a reason why there's so many, the Sanford Internationals out there. There's a reason for that. And that's because, it's very luxurious over there too. Very nice holes, all around. What's that one hole up top there?
I don't know. I think it is. It's beautiful.
12, it's beautiful when you tee off and, you're coming down there, and it's just a beautiful course. And
18's a nice, fun one, too. Go ahead. What's number 1?
Sutton Bay, number 1. Sutton Bay.
I've never got to play it. I never got to play it, man. It would be number 1 on my list, too, but nobody's invited me, man.
It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and it's tough to get on. I've only played it a couple times, but, you want to talk about luxury. You want to talk about, a pro-style course. That's Sutton Bay in South Dakota. And
hey, Sutton Bay, you need to listen to this, be a sponsor, and get me out there, and I'll talk about you guys all the time, okay? Exactly. Get me to Sutton Bay, man. I mean, damn, I've sold 50 million of those packages to go there during the Legends for Kids banquets, and nobody's taking me. I see Begeman and all these people out there golfing. Get me to Sutton Bay, man. Get me to Sutton Bay, all right? That's a great list, man. I will tell you this. There's one that's in the area that I couldn't put on my list because it's not in South Dakota. The Grand Falls Casino, the links course, that thing, talk about being in great condition. My boy Tim Sheridan used to run that thing, and it was immaculate then. I've golfed it a few times since, but that one's in Iowa. I mean, but dude, you hit it in the rough out there, and you think you can go find your ball, and you never can, man. Yeah. That's Nick Nagel. This is the List Podcast, brought to you by our good friends at the Man Salon, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. LeBron's top 10 teammates in the top 5 South Dakota golf courses that are our favorites. That's what we tackled today. As another page is turned here on the List Podcast. Nick, thanks so much, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always fun to talk about LeBron.